Okay, good evening, everyone. So again, welcome to another episode of Sequoia Lending commercial training for Wednesday night. So as I mentioned, I'm going to talk about different type of loan product that we offer. And it's very important for us to understand what they are. Some of them are very, very similar. Some of them are, totally different. So when we out there talking to our client, make sure that our clients submit the right scenario form for us so that we can price the loan together, understand what the client needs, and give them the proper funding. So as I mentioned, a lot of the client coming in looking for working capital, but as a matter of fact, they are looking for funding to purchase an investment property. And we have client coming in here saying, hey, I want to get a 1 to 4 unit investment property. And it turned out to be that they are looking for fix and flips. So what I'm going to do today is to do my best to go through all the products, probably not all of them, but the most important product that we have with Sequoia. Okay, so before we do that, hopefully everybody can see the screen right here. Before we do that, a few housekeeping. Number one, we do have a promotion this month. Okay, what is the promotion? We actually have two promotions. Number one, 1 to 4 unit investment properties. If you submit one to 4 unit investment properties this month and close it somehow this year, hopefully in 30 days we can close. So on top of your commission, we pay you extra half point, meaning that, hey, if the loan amount is $200,000, on top of your commission, you get extra $1,000. You do the math. So there's no limit on how many you can submit. So let's go out there to focusing on 1 to 4 unit. Now, why do I want to focusing on 1 to 4 unit? And actually, 1 to 4 unit is actually the easiest loan that we can close. Normally, we can close in about 30 days. And with today's market, a lot of the people out there are purchasing 1 to 4 unit investment property through a traditional bank. There are so many, there's a lot of issues out there. And using the agency loan, but coming into commercial lending using a business loan is a totally different story. Let me give you an example. Last week, we have an agent, we have a client that came to us. She's purchasing an investment property. And all of a sudden, her credit score dropped. So as far as I know, her credit score was at 700 when she applied for the investment property. By the time it goes to closing, the credit score dropped to below 600, that was 500 something. So now, of course, all of a sudden, everything changes. The interest rate changes, and she was lucky that she can still get a loan. But she came to us and asking us, hey, what can we do? There's nothing much we can do if the property, if she's using an agency loan. But however, if coming to a commercial loans like this, it's very easy for us to fix. First of all, on first 1 to 4 units, they have to purchase the property in an LLC name. So let's say John Doe right now is the sole owner of this LLC. Originally, he has 700 credit score, and now he dropped to 500. How do we fix it to keep the loan at the same interest rate? Very easy. All John Doe needs to do is to add another person to the LLC, because you can have multiple person LLCs. So let's say he add another person onto that LLC, and that particular person has a credit score of 800. Now we can adjust the operating agreement. So that person who has a better credit score stay at, let's say, 80%, 90% of the company, and John Doe at 10% of the company. So in that case, nothing changes. Okay, so in that case, we do not even use John Doe's credit score. We use the, let's say Mary's credit score. So again, there's a lot of flexibility when you come into commercial lending. And that's why I would like you guys to go out there. If you really, really want to make a paycheck, yes, all those big deals are good, but 1 to 4 unit, it's our bread and butter. Okay, so go out there, look for something like this, and we can close this thing very, very quickly. So without further ado, let's talk about different products. So when you sign up with Sequoia, the most important thing is this product page right here. You can, of course, you can go through all different sites, but this is the most important page right here that you need to know. Oftentimes I suggest you, even though you do not have a loan, okay, Submit a scenario form. Test out our system. How does the Sequoia system work? The system works like this. You go into, or your client go into the product page, submit a scenario form. What you're seeing right here is what we call a scenario form, okay? Submit a scenario form to us. Once we received it, we will evaluate the deal and we will respond to you and your client. So even though you don't have anything, you don't have a client, test out our system to see if this system even work or not. So just put in some junk and you will receive an email from us saying, hey, what are you trying to do? So on and so forth. Okay. But anyway, the most important thing is for you to understand what this different product is. So let me go through, a few of them. 1 to 4 unit. So when you click on it, we give you an overview about what 1 to 4 unit it's all about. Give you some a general guideline. Now, obviously, this guideline right here changes all the time. We will try to, keep up as much as we can. So, for example, right now the credit score is 650 minimum. That is true, but quite frankly, a lot of the lender raise their credit minimum. Some lender raise it to 680. Some lenders raised it to 660. Okay, so things like this will change quite often, and we will try to update this as fast as we can. So 1 to 4 unit, what is 1 to 4 unit? They are single family homes, townhouses, condos. So imagine it's a one family property. Now, as long as the property is an investment, we can do that all day long. If somebody come to you saying that, hey, I am living in this property, can you do it? No, I cannot do it. If that it's primary residence, we do not fund primary residence. It's just because many things. Number one, the funding law is so much different if you are doing primary residence versus investment property. Most of our lender are commercial lenders, business loans, which means that they only fund investment properties. They do not fund primary residence. So remember that. Now, some of you might ask, okay, fine. I have a client that has a single family home. He lived in one of the room and he rent out the other rooms. Can you call that an investment property? No, we cannot. That is still a primary residence for that particular client. So we do not fund that. Now, the second reason that we do not fund it is because it does require you to have a license if you go out there to fund primary residence mortgage. So you do need to have a license for something like this, and that is not our business. Okay. Now, also, we have another scenario where, especially in California these days, in California, they have a lot of these things called ADU. Okay, ADUs. So there it's 2 houses on the same lot. The main house, and many of them built an ADU in the back for, rental purpose. So can this become an investment property? Same thing. If the client is living in the main house, that is still considered to be primary residence. So in that case, we cannot do it. Got it? So very, very clear. Your client come to you saying that as long as they live in that property, we cannot do it. Okay. Now, for this type of loan, as long as it's an investment property, we do not look at their income. And that is a big, huge plus. So talk to your real estate agents. Many real estate agents don't even know loans like this exist. When a real estate agent out there sell a property to their clients, and very naturally, they would just go to a local mortgage company to get a loan, which is fine, no problem. But a lot of them, they will run into DTI issues. DTI stands for debt to income ratio. So let's say, for example, if the client cannot provide income or the income is not high enough, they will not be able to do it. However, coming to commercial loan, we do not look at clients' income. Okay, we do not look at clients' income. All we look at is something called DSCR. We look at debt service coverage ratio. We want to see how much this property can generate rent. We look at the market rents. So as long as there's a market rent on it, and the market rent is, can cover the debt, we can fund it. So that is why when you come in here and when you click on apply now, right, you will see we ask for various different information. So what type of property is that, condo, duplex, so on and so forth. Now, the most important thing also we ask for is rent, okay, monthly rent. Now, monthly rent, if you don't know, ask the agent or ask the client. If they are buying a property like this, they would have an idea what would that monthly rent would look like. So it's very important for us to get that information so that we can calculate a DSCR. Now, the annual tax, if you do not know what it is, very easy. You can go to Zillow, or you can ask them to go to Zillow and check on the property record. You can pretty much estimate what the property tax looks like. Insurance, if you do not know the insurance, ask the agent or estimate it, what the insurance would be. So again, those are all the numbers that we need to know in order for us to provide you a rate and term. So that is what 1 to 4 unit it's all about. Now, also in every single form, you will see something like how many investment property do they own? Why do we ask that? It's because in commercial lending, experience count. The more experience you have, the better the rate and term would be. I give you an example. Let's say somebody that never owned anything. He does not own any primary residence. He's still renting, and now he wants to go out there to purchase an investment property. Can you do that? Absolutely, you can definitely do that. But however, many lender might limit you at 70% LTV because this is the first time you're doing investment property. But however, if you have 2 or 3 or 4, now obviously you can go up to as high as 80% on 1 to 4 unit, and your rate and term might be a little bit better. So experience count, and that is the biggest difference between commercial loan, business loan versus an agency loan. You go to a traditional mortgage company, if the investor has so many property already, if they have 5 property, 6 property, 7 property, get to a certain level, they're not able to get property anymore. Okay, so it's just because their DTI is getting much higher. But coming to us, we don't care about their DTI. We don't care about their personal income. So the more property they have actually is a plus. So that is the 1 to 4 unit investment properties. Okay. The next one that we want to talk about, also we're funding a lot, is fix and flip. Now, fix and flip, it's actually a type of bridge loan or construction loan, a mini construction loan, put it this way. But obviously, fix and flip is not a ground up construction. It is a renovation. So for fix and flip, okay, so definitely you have to, you are buying a ugly property. Most likely that property is not in a livable condition, and you purchase it, and also you spend money on it, and to renovate the building to bring it back to the market conditions. And either the investor will sell it, most of cases they will sell it, or they will keep it for long-term rental. So in this case, we are looking for 2 things. Number 1, we're looking for experience. Again, the more experience that they have, the more fix and flip that they have done, the better the rate and term and interest rate would be. Now, normally we will look for last 36 months. Okay, last 36 months, how many deals that they have done. So if you click on apply, and one thing that you see right here, we're asking you for what is it? We have amount right here. Okay, total deals that you have completed in the last 36 months. Why do we want to do that? We want to see what kind of people we're dealing with, what kind of experience that they have. Okay, now obviously the more experience, the better it is. And also, hey, or if somebody's saying that, hey, I don't have any experience, this is my first time doing it, can you do it? Yes, you can still do it, but the requirement would be a little bit higher, meaning that, hey, they do need to see a credit score, much better credit score, perhaps, at least 680, or sometimes they want you to see a 700, so on and so forth. And your loan amount cannot be more than $500,000 for a lot of lenders because this is the first time that you're doing something like this. So there will be other conditions if this is the first time they are doing it. So our suggestion is that if a client is doing a fix and flip, okay, if they never done something like this before, it will be a good idea for them to partner up with someone else who has done a fix and flip before. First of all, you can use the experience, the rate and term will be better, you can get more money out of it. And of course, I mean, with somebody that who has done something like this, you can see how these things actually work, because if you don't have the experience, once you get into it, it's kind of scary. All right, now also a lot we have client agent asking us saying that, hey, the client is actually used to work for a construction company, he or she knows how to do all kind of stuff, okay, but this is the first time that he come out. Can he use his experience? Experience need to be verifiable. What does it mean? You have to provide a track record to us so that we can verify you do have the experience. I mean, you can tell the lender all day long that, hey, I work for this company, I work for that company, but the lender cannot verify it. So they have to see, you have to provide the project that you have done or the client has done. And once, when the lender is evaluating the project, they will pull all the record or whatsoever to verify this client indeed have done jobs like this. Okay, so if he works for other company and his name never showed up on any projects, then we cannot use that experience. We just cannot verify it, right? So that is not a thing that we need to keep in mind for fix and flip. We've done a lot of fix and flips. So even though with today's market, a lot, I mean, fix and flip to a lot of investors is their daytime business, regardless what the economy looks like. They're still out there buying property, fixing property, and selling properties. Okay, so I would suggest if you really want to get into, that's how I started. When I started commercial lending, I focusing on fix and flips and what 1 to 4 unit, just those two. Okay, just those two. So if you've never done anything before, I would suggest you to, look into this too, because again, there's so much business out there, so many people that needs this type of loan. So that's the 1 to 4 unit. I can talk about mixed multifamily. Multifamily is very well. It's similar to 1 to 4 unit, but instead of one family, you are purchasing an entire building. An entire building, you have at least 5 families and above, and each unit got to have its own kitchen. Okay, got to have its own kitchen, and it's an individual family. So that is what multifamily is. So the way to do it is very similar to 1 to 4 unit. We need to look at the rent roll. We need to look at the operating statement. We need to look at how much income that particular multifamily is bringing in. So today, now, if we really want to get into hardcore commercial, multifamily definitely is the way to go. There are so many multifamilies using bridge loan right now. Why bridge loan? There are many different reasons. Perhaps when they purchase a multifamily, let's say there are 20 units. Perhaps when they purchase it, there's only 10 units is renting it out. They need to renovate the building to make the other 10 units to be marketable or whatever the reason might be. So at that time, when they purchase the property, the property is not stabilized, meaning that not all the units are renting it out or they're not getting the market rent for it. So many clients will get themselves into a bridge loan. Okay, a bridge loan normally is a short-term loan between 12 months to 24 months. And many of them purchase multifamilies like this. Same thing with mixed use property, which is right underneath of it. After they purchase it, now they go in, they renovate the building, they paint it, do whatever they needed to do, and to I'm sorry about that. So after they purchase the property, they renovate the building and put the building back to the marketable condition. So now after 12 months, all these 20 units are actually all rented out. Okay, now he's getting market rent. So in this case, now he wants to refinance it to get a long-term mortgage or long-term loan. Absolutely. So we are also seeing a lot of bridge loan coming in also. So multifamily, mixed use, same thing in the same situation. Now, what is mixed use? Mixed use, just like the name, mixed use, commercial and residential. You have two different use for that same building. So in a lot of major cities, you see commercial on the first floor, right? And then you see residential on the second floor. So for that type of property, very similar to mixed use, we need to know how many units are there. So again, if you look into mixed use right here, right? And if you do apply for now, you will see we ask for, here we go. How many commercial units? Okay, we need to know how many how many units for commercial, and also we want to see what is the approximate square footage for commercials. And same thing, we ask for how many number of residential units and total residential unit square footage. Why do we ask that? It's because it really depending on how the commercial, how the mixed use, its structure, the configurations. So in some cases, we might be able to apply for a 1 to 4 unit loan for a mixed use, which have a better rate. Let me give you an example. Let's say if the total square footage for residential, it's 51% or more than the commercial square footage. Some lender will see that as a multi-unit instead of a mixed use. So they will not count the commercial portion of it. They will only focusing on the residential portion of it. So which means that the rate and term will be better. Okay, so we have done quite a few of those. We've done one in, I believe, in Philadelphia, where it's a mixed use, but the commercial, it's only one little 600 square feet office space. And the rest of the building is actually for residential. So in that case, we didn't even need to consider it as a mixed use, because once you get into mixed use, now it becomes a commercial loan instead of a 1 to 4 unit. Okay, so that is very important for us to know what the square footage would be. But other than that, it's pretty simple. We just need to see what the rent roll looks like. We want to see what the operating statement looks like, and then we can give you a pricing. Now, in today's market, whether you are multifamily or mixed use, I think the maximum LTV that you can get up to is 70%. Okay, because the interest rate has gone up so much, a lot of lenders become very conservative nowadays. Used to be they're able to fund 75%, 80%, but many of them do not do that anymore. So right now the max I see is 70%, but the norm is somewhere around 65%. Okay, so that is what happened with multifamily and mixed use. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is commercial properties. Commercial properties, number one thing that I see is that we have quite a few commercial property that came in. It's very difficult to do, not because of the property, but because of the loan amount. When you talk about commercial, we are talking about retails, office buildings, apartment buildings, shopping malls, things like this. So for a lot of the lender out there funding commercial, they don't want to see a loan that is less than $500,000. Some of them will go as low as $200,000, but we have some clients that came in for $100,000 office townhouse. So that is very difficult to do, right? So many agent complaining that, hey, how come the rate is so expensive? And the reality is that the lower the loan amount, the harder to get funded in commercial. Okay, so can we do it? Yes, we can still do it, but most likely all these smaller loan amount is going to be a bridge loan. Same thing, about 12 months, 24 months. Maximum is about 50% LTV or 60% LTV, push it to the limit. It's just because, again, this is not the favorite for any lenders to look at. in commercial, now when I say commercial, I'm talking about hardcore, right? The bigger the loan amount, the more eyeballs that you can attract. So for example, if you're talking about 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 50 million, man, everybody's would jump to it. But if you're talking about 100,000, 200,000, a shopping center, it's just not attractive enough. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Now, when you do commercials, yeah, I mean, pretty much we can do a lot of different type of commercials, but one, right here, you click on the type of commercial, then you can select whichever, commercials that associated with that particular property. Now, most of these commercial are funded by bridge loans. Very rare that we can see something that is, well, I shouldn't say very rare, but a small portion that we can fund 30 or 30-year loans, especially they are stabilized, rented out, so on and so forth. But I would say majority of them are bridge loan type of property, whether they purchase it for. I mean, today we have a client that came in and tried to purchase an office building, and asking for $3.3 million. But the rent does not support a $3.3 million loan. So we cannot get him a 30-year mortgage. We can only give him, it's a bridge loan that's about 2 years. So all these type of project, especially in commercial, the idea is to have them it's very difficult to get a 30-year fix. It's just because for commercial property, the rent changes all the time because they have renter coming in, and they might have renter move out. The property might, the space might be vacant for a period of time, so on and so forth. So it's very difficult to construct a 30-year note on a commercial loan. But bridge loan, it's all day long. Okay, we can definitely do that. So that is commercial, and okay. Next one that we want to talk about, it's land. Can we do land? Can we do land? Yes, we can do land. But today, the reality is that land is much more difficult than before. If you came to us or came to any lender 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or before COVID, I mean, we fund land all day long. But ever since then, the market has shifted, because one thing you don't understand is that land does not produce any income. Unlike any other commercial property that you can rent it out to collect rent, land, most likely you cannot, unless you are purchasing agricultural land that you rent it to a farmer that farms on your land. That's a totally different story. But most of the land that we see are construction lands. They purchase the land, they want to develop it, and they would either sell the lots, or they will build on top of it. So for land, while you are developing it, it costs money, right? Every single month, it costs you money to develop that land, and it does not. You don't have any income coming in from that land. So you do need to have somebody need to have a deep pocket for just purchasing the land. So normally, when people ask me, "Hey, Alan, can you do land?" I will always want to find out, what do you need the land for? Okay, it's very important. What do you need the land for? So ask your client, what do you need the land for? Are you purchasing the land to build? And then you ask them, how fast can you build? And many of them, quite frankly, they will say, hey, I can build immediately, which is fantastic. If that is the case, then we don't even need to give you a land loan. We can give you a construction loan right away, because a construction loan, I can give you funding to purchase the land plus the construction cost, which is actually, construction loan is actually easier than a land loan, because the land loan, you don't know, the lender do not know when you're going to build, what are you going to build, so on and so forth. So normally for land loan, if it's a durable land, normally it's about, again, 12 months, maximum 24 months. They don't want you to hold on to the land for too long and not building it. Okay. And if the land is too small, let's say $100,000 land, I see some land is 60,000, 50,000. I mean, that is not for us. I mean, the lender do not want to fund a $50,000, $60,000 land. Now we also, we funded a few lands before for about 1.5 million There's another one that we funded for about 2.3 million a few years ago. So in the millions of dollars, yes, it would be much easier to get funding for something like this. So just keep in mind one thing, guys. When you go out there to look for these loans, smaller loan, I'm talking about real estate, okay? Smaller loan, it's generally very difficult to do. And especially anything that is under $100,000, ask them to go to their local bank. Would be much better chance. For us, most likely we cannot do it for that type of loans, okay? So that is land loan. Land loan, you have different type of land, right? You have raw land and you have developed land. Raw land is just a piece of land. You just you have not yet developed it. You don't know what to do with it. Somebody would just like to purchase it for, just because they like it. They might want to see the value increase in the future, so on and so forth, whatever that might be. So for raw land, the maximum anybody would fund you is about 40%. 40%. You have to put down 60%. Okay. And this type of loan, we do need to see your bank statements. We need to see your financial. That's why I see, I put it right here. We need to see your business or personal tax return. Why? Why do you see that? It's because that piece of land is not generating income. The lender would like to know, how are you going to afford that piece of land or afford that a monthly payment if the thing is, if you're not generating any income from that piece of land. Okay, so that is why they need to look at the tax returns. They need to look at the tax returns. Okay, now also you have land that is entitled or permitted or developed. So in this case, I've said it already. If it would be better for them to purchase the land to build, then we give them a construction loan. Okay. Also, you have some lands is for agriculture. So we do have a few clients that come to us. They own lands that is growing all kind of crop. Can we do that? If just a piece of land, it will be a little bit difficult. But if there is a processing building on that piece of land. So for example, let's say we are working on a deal right now. This client has about 1,000 acres that he planted jujube trees. So he has a processing center on that piece of land that after he get all the jujubes, to collect all these things, he will go into the processing center to package it or whatsoever. So in that case, it will make things a lot easier than just a piece of flat land. Okay, so that is land. Construction. Believe me or not, we actually doing quite a bit of construction these days. Whether you're building a single family home or building renovation or value added. Right now, one of the biggest deal that we are working on, it's a $50 million deal. The gentleman already purchased a hotel and he want to convert that hotel into condos. So not condo, apartments. And then after that, and he would rent it out. So a lot of lenders like that kind of projects. So again, construction loans. We also have quite a bit of people that is funding, purchasing single family homes, purchase lands to build single family homes, things like this. So yes, we can definitely do that for construction. What we need to look for are a few things. Definitely construction, you do have to have experience. Construction is a little bit different than fix and flip. Fix and flip, you don't have experience, I can still fund you. Because fix and flip, you already have the building. You're not building the whole thing, you're just renovating the building. But ground up construction is totally different. You are getting a loan to build a house from ground up, that from nothing to a house, right? So the lender do require you to have experience in it. Now, what we run into is that there's a lot of builders out there that purchasing land, build the neighborhood, and then after that they sell. Fine, no problem with that. That is easy to do as long as they are a builder. But we do have quite a bit of clients that they are not a builder. They are investors. They purchase a piece of land and they want to build a house on it. After they build, either they want to stay, either they want to live there or they want to sell. So in this case, because they are not a builder, obviously they have no experience to show. So they have to partner up with a builder. which means that the builder has to be a co-signer of that loan. Now, you might ask why. It's actually a protection to the client and also to the lender. So the lender do not want to see a situation like this where they funded the investor who is not a builder, and the investor hire a builder to come in here to purchase, to start the ground up construction. And after halfway through, whatever reason, they might got into an argument or whatever reason, and the builder walk away. And now the client got a half-built house. What can he do? He has to go out there to look for another builder to come in here to finish the job. Now the new builder comes in saying that, oh, I mean, no builder would like to build on top of someone else's job, right? I mean, we all make sense. So the new builder most likely will come in saying that, okay, this is not right, that is not right, let's tear down the whole thing and let's rebuild the whole thing. Now it's going to be getting very, very messy. So the lender do not want to deal with something like this. So the builder has to be a co-signer of that loan in order for these things to go through. So there's no walk around. It has to be that way. Now, how do you structure it? It's totally between the two of them. The two of them can set up an LLC together, and where the investor owns 90% of the company, the builder owns 10% of the company, or whatever the percentage, we don't really care. So as long as we fund to that particular LLC and both the investor and the builder will sign on the loan, then we can fund. So that is the first thing, construction. I'm talking about single family home, okay? Also, we need to look at what do we call it? Construction budget. So if the neighborhood, the house value is about $500,000 and you want to build $1 million home right there, most likely it's not going to go. You need to build something that fit into the neighborhood. Now, if you're talking about much bigger project, like building a hotel, building a multifamily, building a mixed use, those are totally different. So that is something that we need to set up a three-way conference call with you and your client. And most likely, for big projects like this, we need to pull in our lender to understand the project also. Okay, so many of you, if you've been through something like this, you know what I'm talking about. So projects like this, it's not easy. But it's definitely exciting. If somebody that can come in with a $30 million, $40 million deal is definitely exciting. Okay. So that it's construction loan. Equity share. I think I need to do a training specifically on equity share to show you how it works. So currently right now, if you don't know what it is, you can come to this. You can click on apply now. And I think we have a little video right here to show you what equity share it's all about. So in a nutshell, what it is, it's not a loan. It's actually an investment from our investor with our homeowner. So for this one, it's only for 1 to 4 unit, no commercial, 1 to 4 unit, single family home, townhouses, condos, so on and so forth. So for this type of loan, this type of investment, what they do is they will look at how this property increased in value for the last 10 years. And based on that model, they project what this property will increase to 10 years from now. Okay. So after that, the investor is going to come in, tell the client saying, okay, fine, I'm going to give you X dollar amount of money. So let's say 100,000, 200,000, whatever that might be. And we invest in this property together. So for the next 10 years, there's no mortgage payment. No mortgage payment. Okay. No interest. No nothing. You can use the money to do whatever you need to do. And 10 years later, then the client needs to pay me back, or the investor back, according to the contract. So let's say, for example, the property value today's value is $500,000. Okay. And the investor gave them $100,000. However you want to use it, I don't care. And now from that point on, the investor would say, okay, a $500,000 home, I give you a $200,000, I give you $100,000 cash, but 10 years later, I want to take back 30% of your house. Just an example. So let's say 10 years later, that $500,000 home becomes $600,000. So now you need to pay them back 30% of that $600,000, which is $180,000. So that's how it works. Now, the good thing about something like this is that a lot of the business owner, they need capital, but let's say they're a startup, they just don't have the money to do it. They are, they don't have tax, they don't have tax returns, so they just cannot get a working capital. They cannot get any loan or whatsoever. So in this case, it would be a good idea for them to tap into the equity of their home and use that equity as a business working capital for them to start a business, whatever they wanted to do. And and they can use that money for free for the next 10 years. So there's no monthly payment pressure. There's no financial pressure for the next 10 years to pay back the loan, right? So 10 years later, now the value of the property goes up. You just need to refinance it, take out the money and pay them back. That's it. Now, what if the property goes the other side? So let's say $500,000 home, 10 years later, it become $300,000, for example. So yeah, I mean, they will take the loss together with you. So they will still take 30% of that 300,000, which is 90,000. Now they lose money, right? So they will make money together with you and they will lose money together with you. So that is what equity share it's all about. Not for everybody, but definitely is an option for some of the clients. Okay. So those are all the products that on the real estate side of it. Right now it's 8:45 already. So instead of going through the working capital, so on and so forth, I want to stop right here and see if anybody have any questions or whatsoever, and we can, chat for a few minutes to see, what question that you have. And by the way, we do have another Zoom on every Saturday morning, every Saturday, 9 o'clock Pacific time and noontime Eastern Standard Time. So that session is for Q&A. Bring any questions that you have, come to our platform, come to our Zoom, and that is I listen to you. You ask me questions and I answer. Or in some cases, I will bring some of the advisors to come online with us also to answer your questions. Okay. So I'm going to stop right here and to see if you have any questions. So it looks like we have
that Saturday meeting is different from the Friday meeting.
Oh, sorry. Did I say Saturday or Friday?
Saturday.
Okay.
Saturday.
No, sorry. There's no Saturday. It's Friday.
It's on Friday.
It's Friday noon. Okay.
Okay, great.
Friday noon. Sorry about that. Okay.
No worries.
Yep. So let me see. I do have a few questions right here. Sultan is asking restaurant purchase 175,000 and renovation 175,000, total 350. Workable for commercial or gap funding. Looks like, first of all, I need to know restaurant purchase for 100. I need to know if they have, so it looks like they have the commercial. Okay. Gap funding, I don't think gap funding will work, because in order for you to get a $350,000 gap funding, you have to show a personal income for about $1 million. I doubt anybody can go up to that much money. So most likely for that kind of loan is either working capital or a commercial loan.
Which one would you rather have? The working?
I need to look at the clients first. Now,
Okay.
how long they have been in business, and
Okay.
right? Do they have at least 2 years of tax return to show, so on and so forth?
Yes, they do. Okay.
So most likely working capital will work.
Okay. Thank you.
How about under 400,000 loan for 1 to 4 unit? I don't know what that means. What about it? I mean, we can definitely fund it for 1 to 4 unit for any real estate, any residential investment property. We can fund as low as $75,000. Okay. We don't like to fund it, but I mean, we have funded $75,000 properties.
Alan,
Yes, Larry.
I got a guy that owns a couple of restaurants, and it's a chain restaurant.
Yep.
Actually, they call it Dairy Queen, and he just bid on another restaurant, and I'm trying to get him to go through our program. Would that be under the business acquisition, or where do I sign him up when he decides if
Okay.
he want to run with us.
So you're saying that he already have a few restaurants. He wants to open up another restaurant.
Yes.
So he's not buying in another restaurant. He just open up a new one.
Well, actually, he buying another existing Dairy Queen.
That would be business acquisition.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
We love a business like this, especially they already have the experience and they want to purchase another one. Absolutely. We can definitely do that.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Okay. So how Margaret, I see you that you raise your hand. Margaret.
Yes, in the very beginning, you mentioned about the back credit to switch the borrower's name in the company. So is there any type of restriction who can put on the company as a shareholder for
Nope.
the back credit?
Nope.
Okay.
Anybody
And
can be
then-
on the LLC.
And how many percent for the person with a beta credit? Is there
Well,
any
normally-
requirement?
Yeah, normally if you don't want them to see the person who has a bad credit or use his credit score, normally you structure it as 90-10. So the bad credit person, the bad credit client will own 10% of the company, and the good credit person will own 90% of the company. So in this case, we only look at the good credit person. But however, we can use both people's down payment or liquidities, right?
And after the last minute switch, how long we're able to close the loan?
I mean, just like anything else. I mean, normally we close a deal like this in 30 days.
30 days.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Got it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yep. Where is the link for gap funding? Right here. Okay. Under business funding, and you see gap funding right here. So in your website, you will see something similar. So those go to gap funding. Is there any equity share income? No, unfortunately, Gigi, there's no such thing. Where do we find the link for bridge loan? Okay, bridge loan is actually a type of loan. Bridge loan, for example, like a 30-year fix, a 5-year arm, 3-year arm. So that is type of loans. There's no link for bridge loan. So most likely when you come into a commercial property, let's say you do a commercial property and you fill out some information, and after we read the numbers, let's say you're buying a property for $3 million, for example, and you're saying that, okay, fine, the property is vacant, which means that that property is not generating any income. So in this case, 100% of the time, we can only use a bridge loan. Okay, so a bridge loan, just like what it says, it gets you from what you wanted to, what the current situation is, to where you want to go to. So once you get into a bridge loan and you stabilize the property, do whatever you need to do, and once you rent it out, then we can go into a long-term note. So a bridge loan, there's no such link. Okay. Looks like that's all the questions right here. Anyone else? I mean, I would love to chat with you guys. If not, well, bring your deal to Friday, and we can talk about all kind of deal. We can talk about why the deal doesn't work, and we can even share with you the case of some of the deals that we close. Why, how do we put them together and things like this. I mean, we can talk about one thing that I would love everybody to tell us is that what do you want to know? Okay, every single week, every single Wednesday like this, we will just come up with topics that we think that will benefit you. But however, feel free to let us know. Send an email to support. Let us know that, hey, I want to learn about this topic. I want to talk about this topic, and then we can put the training together for you. All right. Anyone else?
Alan, I got one more question.
Yes, Larry. Yep.
I just want to be clear on the DSCR, the debt service current ratio. What was that again? What is that?
Debt service coverage ratio. So that is telling DSCR, telling the lender what is the cash flow of that property or
Okay.
that business.
Okay.
So that's
current
all we
cash
looked
flow.
at. Yep.
Okay.
So that is actually the most important word that you need to learn to speak in commercial language, right?
Okay.
So when you go out there and talk about DSCR, that is what most lender will look for for any properties. Now, of course, there are property that is cannot do DSCR. And in that case, then we need to do a bridge loan because it does not come in any, there's no income coming in. You cannot do a DSCR, right?
Thanks.
Okay. Okay, guys. So again, that's all I have for you guys. I apologize one more time that our advisor Tyrone cannot be here today. So I will circle back with him and hopefully next week, and he can come back and talk about gap funding for the second part. All right, guys.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you so much. Yep.
Appreciate
Fill up the
Good night.
pipeline, and I
Thank
see
you,
you
Alan.
Friday. I see you
Thank you,
Friday.
Alan.
Okay. See you
All right,
Friday.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Alan. Thank you so much. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Alan. Bye-bye.
Bye.